Du lytter til en podcast fra Stemmer for Ådalen. Udsendelsen er bragt i samarbejde med vores partnere. Det er Albani og Fynske Bank. Vi siger også tak til dem, der er medlemmer af Klub SFO.
Det er noget, man drikker.
Har I oplevet noget lignende? Jeg har sgu ikke det.
Velkommen her til en særlig udgave af vores podcast Stemmer for Ådalen om OB. Jeg hedder Martin Davidsen, og så ved siden af mig der sidder Jonas Knudsen, der er medvært i dag. Hej Jonas.
Hej Martin.
Vi skal tale med OB's cheftræner Alexander Zorniger og sportsdirektør Troels Bæk, og vi sidder her i Superliga-huset i OB. Lige om lidt, så skifter vi til engelsk, så alle er med. Men først lige et par budskaber fra vores samarbejdspartnere. Den ene, det er Fynske Bank, den lokale bank, der støtter Fyns fodbold og foreningsliv. I kan tage fat i Fynske Bank, hvis I overvejer at skifte bank. Albani, det er den anden partner, det er lokale bryggeri, som er til stede i de fleste sportsklubber rundt om på øen, og også på tribunerne. Til sidst tak til vores medlemmer af medlemsklubben Klub SFO, og fra nu af, så skal det foregå på engelsk. From now on, we will speak English. Alexander and Troels, welcome, and thanks for welcoming us here in the Superliga-huset in OB.
Good afternoon.
We have a lot of questions for you today, and the Superliga is 15 rounds into the season. It's about 5 months since you started in the club, Alex. Today we will talk about the development in OB, about the squad, about your ambitions and expectations for the rest of the season and further. But Alex, first of all, how have your first 5 months in Odense felt from the inside?
Yeah, it's more or less the same when you're entering a club. You need to get used to the club. Sometimes in the past also to countries, to people, to the staff, more and more important in modern football, to the team in general. You need to find out how you can implement your thoughts about football, your thoughts about dealing with each other. So in general, I think it helped me that I was a little bit used to Denmark in general. Of course, Fyn is a little bit different than the area around Copenhagen, but also another private situation, because now I had, luckily or unluckily for the players, I had more time because the family was not here. But I think in general, things are getting more and more settled.
Okay.
In different areas.
And we will come back to some of the football things regarding the first 5 months. Jonas have some questions. I have some questions, and we will get to that. Troels, how would you describe the change that you and Alex are trying to build together in OB?
I would say, of course, depending on the perspective you have, Alex, his perspective after 5 months. I've been here now for quite some more time, and for me it's not really a change but an acceleration of things that we tried to change already 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago, and the acceleration is definitely felt by most of us. We are quite clear and want to make the impression as close to the identity project that we spent 1 year conducting, and for us it's clear how we want to play, and we wanted to accelerate it. That's why we invited Alex, being very experienced in what we hope could be the expression of our football. And of course, Alex has his own flavor and adds onto the things that we have described. And one of the things, and I think that's for me very describing for the first 5 months, one of the things that will define our way of playing is the high level of action. Alex can most likely put it better in words, and perhaps you'll do it later. But one of the key things for us is to speed up the game so that the individual player would not have one task per minute or one action per minute, but four or five. And the same goes for the 5 months we spent now together with Alex and Martin Lanik and Ulrik Råberg. That is high intensity and a lot of action in our daily routines, in the meeting schedules, in the training schedules, and therefore it has been. I can't understand this already 5 months because it has been quite intense and a high level of actions.
Yeah, and Jonas,
is that a camera I'm looking in?
Yes,
or?
it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Keep smiling.
Jonas, when we discussed which questions would be relevant, we had quite a lot of questions regarding the everyday life. Maybe we should start with one of those.
Yeah, exactly. And Alex, you have talked something about the structure of the club coming in, and also something about the professionalism and the daily routines. Have you already seen some developments? And are you talking mostly about infrastructure, the staff, the players' mentality, or are you still identifying where to put your effort in changing the daily routines of professionalism?
Both. Yeah, I think it's related to football. So the work on the pitch, also when Boz is talking about acceleration, we would like to accelerate everything as fast as possible and as much as possible and as stable as possible. Stability has become a more important word in the last maybe 6-7 weeks now. But in general, I think it's, if you want to be successful, you cannot just turn or work on in one area, turn one button. That's impossible. Usually it's going hand in hand that you're first of all showing everybody how can we maybe increase the level of performance in general, and what does it mean to increase it? Does it mean when you're working more that you're automatically working better? Or does it maybe mean when you're using more tools in football that you become automatically better? I don't know, it has to be proven, but I think in general there's a possibility that working more and working more in the right area means that you're becoming better. I think taking something out doesn't mean necessarily you become better. I remember when I was here the first time, I think Troels told me a quote in Scandinavia, make the best out of nothing. You remember?
Yeah, it's actually a quote from Tromsø. And I don't know how many brilliant things, they're doing fine, but they have this quote saying, we want to be the best at everything that doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, and so I was asking, what about making the most out of the most? Yeah, how can we improve everything? How can we get better infrastructure? How can we get better food? How can we get better players? How can we get better staff? At the end, maybe you get how do you say? I lose my job because of that thinking. Yeah, because maybe one day there will be a better job, a better coach. But with all my minor self-confidence, if we will find a better job, then we are already on a very good level. Mm-hmm. And this is what I'm looking for. That I see myself maybe more than in other clubs where it was clearly described. We want to fight for titles. If possible, we will also want to do that here in Odense. But right now, I see myself more like a supporter in the development for the future. Because with a couple of things I'm not so happy with, it will be on the long run difficult to create the stability to perform on a very high level on a regular basis. And not just, okay, let's get Zorniger and let's get 5 more players and let's make something with the pitch, and then in 1 year we can be in top 6, and in the next 4 years again not. This is not my aim.
But Troels, when you're speaking of accelerating something that you were implementing last year, what was the most important things to push the speeder on taking Alex in?
Oh, most likely, I'm my interpretation of last year might be a little too rosy, because of course, since I was part of it and trying to describe the development we want to. So I'll be more willing to see the progress for what it is rather than what you would have seen. But I think the culture we had in the squad was terrible before and has grown very, very strongly. I think the willingness to support each other, the way to think as a unit more than as individuals has developed dramatically. And that would be, of course, of importance, great importance for the style of play, because that is a very unselfish, very sacrificing way of playing, because you would have to do a bunch of hard work for somebody else and accepting it not to be your success as an individual, but the team success. And so I think the culture has been growing quite dramatically within the last year, and the style of play we tried as we worked with the identity to integrate what was found in the style of play. So we went from a style of play with a much more possession-based football to less control on the ball, but more control on reaction and speed and
chaos.
Yeah. And we didn't get that far last season. And not blaming anybody, because everybody worked extremely well and hard, but only few had the experience in that kind of football, and Alex has much more. And that's why we think it's going to be accelerated now. So that is what we think is accelerating.
You referred to the new strategy sometimes in OB.dk, in some of the job announcements and something like that. But and one of the headlines, I guess, is next level, the new strategy in OB. So what needs to get to the next level?
If we have a chance, then everything. Of course, everything. Daily routines, and we have to remember this is not only a sports strategy; it's also for the rest of the club, which
organization
is organization, communication, marketing, all the commercial stuff, which fans usually don't appreciate as much. But that is the key: how to develop the finance that is needed to invest in the team. So of course we have to accelerate everything, and next level is asked for every level of the club. On the pitch, joining with Alex, of course it's as you said, Alex, stability at a higher level, not stability on the former level, but at the highest possible level, and that will take a lot of work and a lot of changes in personnel, because not everybody is fit for the way we play. And that's what we have seen already, changes in the squad as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I couldn't help but notice, Troels, that not only here in Stemmer for Ådalen, but also in other media, when you presented Alex as new OB coach last summer, you referred to Identity OB project, and this being one of the things that you maybe learned during as a sporting director, being involved in the Identity OB project. How much have you talked about this identity project and trying to implement it or use it for the benefit of the club, this involvement of fans and sponsors and partners and different areas of the organization into improving OB as a whole?
Yeah, if I could start giving my version of how much we talked about, I think from the beginning, and I hope it was of importance for you, Alex, but in the beginning, of course, when we had the opportunity to discuss whether Alex could join us or not, it was my greatest interest to make Alex see the point that he's not here to change everything, but he's here to do what he's best at, and in a style of play that we already wanted. So it's not him convincing the club, it's not the coach convincing the club to do things in his way. It's actually us hoping for the perfect match, that what you do, Alex, and what you have proven to do over the years is what we need to see more of in our club. So sometimes you talk about being on strategy. This is on identity.
And Alex, you also in some of our interviews in TV2, you've been talking about the mentality that you want to implement in the squad. You're talking a lot about not complaining about losing the ball or complaining about this is hard, but to keep on going. Can you tell me a bit more how you would describe the mentality you want to see throughout the club?
I think it's in
from your
general my
perspective?
understanding of football. My understanding of football is based on football as a game of mistakes. Most likely, if you would talk with Pep Guardiola, he would disagree. But of course, I'm not only training; I'm also watching football. And also, when we were talking about the result yesterday from the Danish national team in Scotland, minimum 2, most likely 3 or even 4 of the goals were conceded out of mistakes. So I think it makes it also easier for young people, for people who wants to create something, who wants to be successful with something, to accept that mistakes can happen. It's just about the reaction on the mistake. And when I'm thinking of developing players also with the ball, it's often related to quality against the ball. And this is mostly the question I'm asking a player first when we are interviewing him. How do you see football, with or against the ball? And most of the players, hopefully, they say with the ball. And I say, okay, I see it against the ball. Then I can explain them why I see it against the ball. Because against the ball has a lot to do with mentality, with acceptance of mistakes, with showing an effort, with not hiding. With the ball, it's mostly related of what most of the very, very talented youth coaches in whole Europe have created before. And now I have to take these also when I came to Brøndby at that time, there was Thomas Frank. Yeah, and everybody knows where he's right now. Yeah, but at that time, it doesn't look like that he will end up at Tottenham. And he learned everything to players like Nørgaard or Jules Akker and all the other guys. And I just used the quality which was there and implemented this mentality, this acceptance of there will be mistakes and you will lose a ball, but what are we doing afterwards? And that is also something I think most of the spectators, with all the respect, realizes a little bit more and understands a little bit more. Football is a little bit, that is why it's so popular, is a little bit the mirror of our society also. You're making mistakes, but you show a reaction. Some are good in some things and they show it, but they have to use other people that it will make gold out of shit. Otherwise, it's difficult to create something if you're just going your individual way. So there are a lot of things which are a little bit related to normal life. And this is also, I think, my advantage, that I was not a pro when I was a football player. So I put together the plan that I have in how to deal with each other, in how to deal with football players and with young football players. How can I improve their qualities, not their qualities, their mentalities, not so much only I'm able to stop a ball, I'm able to shoot, I'm able to run fast, but also how can we connect players with each other. And in this connection with each other, you need to create a common understanding, a swarm understanding. And if you create that, then somebody else accepts, okay, this guy is doing this and that, and I have to do that and that it creates a bigger picture. And this is my understanding of mentality.
Couldn't help but think, I was in Parken Saturday seeing Denmark make this fallout against Belarus, and it felt sometimes like some of the OB games I've seen from stands to this season, where individual mistakes started happening, sometimes seemingly out of nothing, but I couldn't help think that there might be a common denominator in that these things happen when you sense that the team isn't quite there, that the structure isn't quite there, and they're not there for each other. Their level of intensity is not where it should be. I had that feeling in Parken. I've had that feeling during some OB games where mistakes have started to happen. Could you see that? Could you say that there's some?
I cannot understand the connection between mistakes and automatically receiving goals or whatever. I cannot. If you compare our games with the Danish national team, then it has a kind of, it's charming, but I don't see that relation because then we would have made a lot of wrong things. We made mistakes this year, but we didn't make the mistakes because of a wrong mentality. We made these mistakes because of because of a missing quality, because of underestimating situations, because of in the player's mind there was still another game set, a game setup.
So the individual mistakes, you as a coach, you're working on them individually with the players, the mentality in the situations, or is there some level of team responsibility that heightens the risk of these individual mistakes happening in the game?
It should not hide. It should cover them.
Yeah.
There should be safety nets for a couple of situations. If we take as an example the mistake from Yaya to I think it was 1-0 against Brøndby, there is no possibility of a safety net when you're playing the ball to another opponent. But the players need to know, where is the risky part of our game? Where are we allowed to take that risk in the game? And where shouldn't we take the risk into the game? But I see our way of playing related to the quality also from the Danish national team on another level. Their game is mostly based on quality.
Jules?
I can't help thinking of every team you support. I do believe you support both OB and the Danish national team, Jonas. In all the clubs I've been, the team you support is a team you notice the more mistakes from. Or you think, they are getting sloppy or tired. And I can tell you that because 7 of our opponents I've been coaching their teams, and the response from their home fans is the same. Do you think the Scottish team think they made mistakes yesterday? At least twice, I think so.
Yeah.
But adding on to what Alex said, and it's not to complete it, but it's just to use the Danish word, and I know you're familiar with it, accepting mistakes but not accepting them by not covering them. That is for me overvinderkultur.
Yeah.
That is accepting a mistake and refocusing and getting back on track and making sure it's not an obstacle, is more the fuel of our game. For me, that's a culture that we are aiming for, aspiring for.
Without thinking too much about it, allowing to make mistakes is, in my understanding, the only chance to allow players to perform. Because with these no net in between 22 players, the pitch is getting more and more smaller because of the intensity of the game in general. Therefore, I have no possibility to. My goal is to minimize the mistakes in general, but without explaining them. If we are minimizing the mistakes, we would like to avoid the mistake. We would like to take the mistakes out of our game in general. If you are making mistakes, it leads on the other side, that means on the opponent, to a situation that they breathe, that they say, okay, now the threatening is gone. Yeah, now we have control of things, and to create something out of this dangerous understanding of I have things under control, that we are using these moments for our own sake. That is one of the things I would like to do.
If you take a walk, and you cannot unless you ask us very kindly, but if you take a walk around the building here, you would see one of the, as I understand it, the most important phrases of all, that is no excuses. It doesn't say no mistakes, but it says no excuses. There's no excuse when you make a mistake. Don't stop and excuse and point at other players or referees or the grass. There's no excuses. Keep going.
Just to make it clear, I totally accept your point about when I follow a team, I see lots of more mistakes than on the opponent's side because I'm focused. My focus is on that team. But when you look back at the first 15 round of the Superliga, wouldn't you say that there has been too many costly mistakes made in OB games?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But also, when you are looking in detail about the season so far, we had 15 games. And also Denmark and also us, we are looking a lot about statistics. We conceded 36 goals. Too much? Definitely. 100%. we conceded half of them, 18 goals in 4 matches. So when we are talking about the season so far, we need to be really careful that we are looking at maybe not the public, maybe not the medias also, but for us in accelerating, in improving, in developing, it's very important that we are looking in detail about things. And this is what when I right now analyzing things, we will talk about it most likely later, also in detail. But when I'm looking at the beginning, we had these games with Vejle, conceded 4 goals, expected goals 1.1 or whatever. Yeah, and there's when you're interpreting expected goals, when you're conceding much more goals than you should have conceded because of the pure numbers, then you have to think about individual quality. This is written in the explanation in the book. Yeah, but this might be a little bit too easy, because who says that the mistake that Yaya did now against Brøndby, he will do in half a year as well? Would I like to have a Premier League team here? Perfect. Is it possible? Most likely not. So we have chances. We have. I'm not looking at him because I know his answer already. Okay. If we have the chance to bring players who are improving dramatically our game, fine. But for me, it's in the same when we are talking about improving quality. We need to talk about new players. We need to talk about improving the existing quality. And this is also one of our tasks. And then I cannot talk to players like, for example, McCoy, and tell him you need to do that and that and that better. And within 2 weeks, he will do it. But maybe I can create a system around him that is covering his weaknesses and is supporting his strength. And then I can bring them on another level. And maybe with William Martin as well, and with Elias, and so on and so on. Yeah. But of course, we are here in a how do you say, in a daily presentation for everybody. And the players which are already here have the best possibility. They only need to perform.
You already see signs of some of these players, or the group as a whole, gaining new experiences, learning, improving
100%.
After those fallout matches, as I call them.
100%. Yeah, we still had the second Brøndby game. Won 5 goals, won 4 goals. Then we had the Vejle game with 4 goals, and we had the Aarhus game with 5 goals at home. But beside that, we are totally in place. Whatever in place means. We are not limiting ourselves, but with all my experience here in these 5 months, and this is also a development process for me, stabilizing our performance on the highest possible level is much more worth than having a 3-3 in the Midtjylland game at the beginning, and we can talk afterwards about we were 2-0 up, we were 3-2 up, but we also allowed them a couple of clear goal chances. Then we have the Parken match, for example, against Copenhagen, with around 1 expected goals, and they shouldn't have scored a goal. Now we have, in the first 11 games, we had only 1 game with under 1.0 expected goals. In these 5 games already, we had already 2. So this is the way we are looking also on the numbers.
Speaking of mistakes, one of my mistakes when I recording podcast is that I'm starting a question without knowing where to end it, but now I'll try. And it's a question for you, Alex, and maybe you can also comment it, Troels. But speaking of conceding goals and scoring goals, it has been very entertaining to watch OB this season. Very entertaining, and you used the word chaos probably in this conversation. And the game I'm thinking of is the Nordsjælland game away. You won 4-2. 4-2, yeah.
4-2, yeah.
And it made some headlines that you, after the game, seemed very emotional. Going into the interview with Viaplay, we also had a short talk about it in the television some days after. But
emotional or unemotional? Some people did not understand how I was responding on the game. Yeah, luckily also that is why I'm get okay paid. Yeah, they don't understand the game in the way I understand it.
Yeah.
I don't have to jump around just because of victory, and I don't have to jump into the water here just because of a defeat. I see the game with different eyes, and I was related to why I started here. Not happy with several things, and I was happy with several things. Am I able to immediately evaluate them? I know how you guys are working also. Yeah, I know that when I have the tendency to sound a little bit more critical, that you're using maybe this one. But the game was such a up and down for me in the way I would like to see my game playing that I was not able immediately after the game to say, okay, let's
celebrate
daily business. Yeah, let's go into the celebration mode. Maybe it would have helped somebody. Maybe it would have helped also parts of the team. But would it help us to say, okay, at the end we won 4-2 and everything is fine? Again, coming back to that, if we make it into top 6 and there's a chance, but we make it because of lucky circumstances. Does really everybody think, and now we did it? Now we have passed this period of not winning something in OB, and next year, what are we doing next year? We have to stabilize things. We have to stabilize our performance. If we do so, I can live with a draw in Nordsjælland. I know how difficult it is to play there. It's maybe one of the most difficult places.
But I think actually you mirrored the feelings some fans had also with whoa, this was a roller coaster ride, and you said you were quoted this. I love this job. I hate this job, and maybe it was just something you said, but that's the feeling some fans have, I guess. I hate the mistakes, the goals we are conceding. I love when we're scoring 4 goals against Nordsjælland. So I don't know if what your interpretation was of it, Jonas, but I guess it was the fans responded quite well to the TV interview.
Can I just step in between?
Yeah.
We have now a situation also with Max Eidung. With he's out for the next game because of a decision made, and you can make this decision, no doubt. If people are talking now about that game, they are not talking about the way I analyzed it. Yeah, the way we conceded the goals, the way we scored the goals. They were analyzing the way I behaved. I spoke afterwards. I looked afterwards. I quoted afterwards. And this is why
the Nordsjælland game.
The Nordsjælland game. Yeah. And this is also why football is so interesting for most of the people. And this is why I'm trying to also, when we are talking about quality mentality, I'm also talking about emotions. We need to bring these emotions to this club. And this is what we're doing. But we also need to stabilize things in between. Yeah. And then we can include quality, mentality, emotions to a hopefully in the future successful package.
Yeah.
I was curious. Yeah. Did you get to the end of your question before, Martin?
I'm also in doubt, actually. But
if you wanted to have a structured interview, I'm the totally wrong guy. Yeah. Totally wrong guy.
And talking about
that's why Jonas is here.
Yeah, talking about interviews, I can't help but notice that sometimes the tension gets a bit high when you're, especially on television, before, especially after matches. The tension can get high between you and the, I think you sometimes call them so-called experts. Do you think
Not so far. Yeah, there was Stig Tøfting in some situations. Why did I only met him once this year, by the way? Yeah. But not so far. Not so far. I'm just, whenever I'm talking to experts, I expect that they are really pros in what they are doing. This is how I treat them. If I don't like the answer, I can tell them. If they don't like the answer, they will ask another question as well. Do I understand their job? No way. Do they understand my job? Mostly, no way. Maybe there was another coach before. Then they do, maybe. But do I understand the job of fans? No way. Do they understand my job? Also no way. Do I understand the feelings they have? Totally. Do I believe that there are people in the world who can react very calm to aggressive questions as well. Head up, wonderful. Can I do so? No way. Because this is also the respect I'm showing. For me, it's not just a business. For me, it's a way of respecting each other and getting in touch with each other. And if he has the better arguments, fine, then argue. But please accept also my answers.
Do you think the quality of the conversation around football in Denmark is generally too low, or
No.
Or is it just the understanding
No.
between?
And we
parties?
should not split in between Denmark and Germany and Cyprus and whatever. I think it's sometimes important that you have sitting people in between who explains what I'm talking about. When I was in Germany in German television, there was a big show and there was I think it was a comedian or a singer or whatever. And I asked the guy responsible for the show afterwards, what is he doing there? And he told me, Alex, if I have 4 of you guys, the people will shut off after 10 minutes. Yeah. So this is also something I had to understand. I think it's not about the level in general. The level will be decided by my answers with the respect for who is asking questions. But I have the expectation that he was thinking about the questions before, with all the respect to me as well.
But Troels, what do you think about the when Alex has an interview and said that I love this job, I hate this job? I guess some of my colleagues will call you and say, "Did you see that? And what do you think about it?" And he said it was what was the saying?
The job was harder than you had believed. I think you said after the Nordsjælland game.
I guess you will get questions, but the coach said that. The coach said this.
I think there's a really tasty menu for reporters, because they then hope that I will start commenting on what the coach was commenting on. And at the end of the day, the only people talking is the people hired in the same club, and that's not going to happen. Alex hated and loved the job 10 years ago when I met him in Brøndby, and I believe you've done that all your life. And 10 years from now,
most likely,
yeah,
100% actually.
And like you now hope for me to say a comment on what he said, it's not going to happen. It's too sweet for the reporters and too sour for us as football people.
Yeah.
It's also not like he's totally surprised. Yeah, worked with me 2 years, so he knew what he was fishing for.
And Troels, you knew when you saw or heard afterwards what Alex said, this with the job being harder than he had believed. You knew what he was talking about.
No, and I don't have to. I don't have to know everything Alex is thinking of and the way he responds. I don't have to be in his head. I just need to make sure that when we work, and we do that very closely every day, we are on the same page, and we are.
Okay. I just have 2 sentences in Danish, again about our sponsors. Albani, altså a sponsor in OB, The Local Brewery, det lokale bryggeri. De er til stede i de fleste sportsklubber, som jeg sagde tidligere, og vi siger også tak til Fynske Bank. Tak til Albani og Fynske Bank. And then in English again, some of the things that we have been talking a lot about during this season is the expectations from the surroundings, the media, the fans, and we have been talking about it since you joined the club again last summer. But we have a feeling that the expectations aren't aligned between fans and club.
They aren't, or they are?
Are not. It's my when I talk to you, I get the feeling that you think that it's not aligned. Is that right?
Do you think they are aligned?
I'm that as well.
Yeah, because
maybe it depends who do you ask.
and this is maybe not the right track, but and meta journalism is definitely not my thing. But if I think of, because I do try to listen to most of your episodes, even if you're producing crazy numbers, and how can you keep talking about events when you have that many episodes. You can only talk about speculations to keep episodes alive, but you do well. And I remember the last 4 or 5 months in the first division, the atmosphere was very much, they have no chance in if they at all would get promoted, they will get back immediately from the Super League. And then over the summer, most likely because people like Alex came in and some of the players that came, all of a sudden, also in your programs, now we can attack something. We can maybe even be, this is the autopilot talking. We can maybe be in top 6 or whatever. So I think if I would only make the measurement on what you're asking me from your own episodes, then I'm really confused about if we aligned or not. We are here to establish and sort of balance our level back in the league. Make sure that as fast as possible we are stabilized and have a safe point for leverage to attack the league as soon as we can. As soon as we can.
And sorry.
Yeah.
And also, I do not completely agree because I had the talks with the fans right now. And by the way, when you are talking about the expectations from the fans and from us, are the fans one person?
No, exactly.
So then it will be difficult.
Who do you ask?
But we are because as Truls said at the beginning, I was from the beginning, even before OB was interesting for me. I spoke with him. Why did he start it in OB? And he said there was also a project ongoing. I know that he's good in structuring these things, and that the fans are involved in that, and the sponsors are involved. And so it's not only the inner circle; it's really a wider circle who is involved in everything. And therefore, me so far, it sounds. Of course, I have discussions with individual fans as well. My respect to them; they are paying also part of my salary, so I'm getting in touch with them. Do they like my answers? Most likely not always. Do I know their response? Also most likely sometimes not. And then we are discussing, and at the end, fine. You understand it? No? Okay, also fine. Just this is my way of respecting it. But when I had the talks with the official fans, difficult to get in touch with everybody, but with the official fans, I think they know in which direction it's going. And they also know that it might be some ups and downs. And I think in general it would be not unfair because fairness is decided by everybody himself. It's about acceptance of in which direction we are going right now. And we had at home and away really marvelous games. Yeah? And we have games where also I went home and said, that was shitty. Done. And then we are talking about taking over a team, developing something, taking over a club, developing something, taking over a fan base and developing something. That is all related to each other.
Can I just add a little bit to it? Because I think we've been very clear from even before we got promoted, actually, saying in all respect for the Super League that developed a lot as we played 1 year in the first division. Who are we? Look at OB, Aalborg. Who are we to just bring the autopilot back on track and say, Odense, always number 6 or top 6? Who are we if we are not taking care of every step on this on the journey and making sure that we are getting better, the potential is growing and the stability would be growing as well? Who are we? So I have, and I know this is stupid because I know the reaction very often. I have this great wish, and that is whether it's expectation or hope, let's keep it stable as a performance. Because once hopes get exceeded, then I know for a fact after 25 years in Odense, skepticism is just around the corner. And sometimes the club, the people working in the club, the performance from the club didn't change, but the hope risen and the skepticism was very clear after that. And that is a mechanism that is not unique for Odense. And I'm not the expert of Danish football, even if I've been in many clubs, but it is a trademark in Odense. And we have to stop that. We have to stop it and make sure that hope is hope and we nourish it, and we make sure it's going to grow as much as we can, and not being this pendulum going one way one week, and then as soon as possible back in skepticism and yeah.
Talking about autopilot, I can't help but think that this sense, this feeling that you get from the surrounding is also a bit of autopilot.
Mine or yours?
Yours as well, because I've been coming on the stands for my whole life, and I've always, known the reaction pattern of the audience on Odense Stadion, and I've never seen such patience, such a long time before people start whistling, booing, stop chanting for the team. Of course, there are silent periods when you are down by 4 goals to AGF. That will happen at any stadium. But I think there's a long way to the whistling than just compared to 2 years ago or even 15 years ago when OB was competing for the championship. There's another patience. So I'm just curious about where do you get this this feeling, this sense that the skepticism is around the corner, or that people are having too high expectations about top 6?
It could definitely be my filter, and I'm not clearly looking at the reality, only at my filter. That is a possibility. Could also be based on maybe the question you were asking 1 minute ago, Martin. If we think we are aligned in expectations, could be.
But Odense is a place with big emotions. It's also a place where you can have a banner saying "In Zorniger vertrauen wir." So there's love, but there's also skepticism, and I guess football, it's those things goes hand in hand.
Yeah, not always. You know, it's about understanding which steps did OB made in the last year related to other clubs, like long time ago FCK. I don't know, was FCK already FCK when Odense beat Real Madrid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
But very
years.
newly
2 years old.
Yeah. Aarhus now. Midtjylland was for sure not even
No,
there, right?
there was that.
No.
Wasn't there?
So it's about, in football, it's always the same. If you're just dealing with the past, then you got lost. Then other teams are passing you because they have better work to do, because they have more money, because they have whatever. And I think, first of all, we need to improve the quality. We need to increase the quality of everything around. Because when you said the banner was already there in the first game, it was not anymore there in the second one. Now I saw it again in Nordsjælland. And of course, I feel these trust from the people. When I'm going into the city, they are talking to me. By the way, nobody so far said, but now you should start in passing FCK because they're only 6 points away. Yeah, they said, we are totally fine with the performance you showed so far. Yeah, if I'm listening closely to your question, you do not always agree that we are on the right path. But I think, and I have a little bit more knowledge about it in detail, we are on the right path. We are totally on the right path. Yeah, we also related to something in the past. Again, I will repeat it again. Celebrate the promotion from last year. Look into details. 16 last games, 5 victories. So what did we expected? What did OB expected? What did the fans expected? What did the medias expected also? Maybe you had no expectations. Maybe you just want to make the number of podcasts. I don't know. Yeah, could also be. Yeah, but in general, I love that people see, hey, Zorniger, we trust you and you will get it handled. Yes. But if we are not improving, if we are not increasing the quality also here in Odalen, it's very important that everybody understands, is Odalen, maybe I'm opening up something, but is Odalen the right thing to become where they have been 20-25 years ago? We need better training grounds. If we think that we are playing chess and at the end we will be top 3, no chance. Yeah, we need to increase the level of everything here.
Yeah, that's a job for you
No, not only. That's not only our job. Because whatever you guys are also doing is influencing people around. And when we have too many negative vibes in everything, then it's really difficult to make everybody understand, hey, we are already on that level. If you're permanently talking about we are on that level because of your knowledge of football, which I have no clue about, just because making a podcast doesn't mean necessarily maybe you're better in talking than I am. Maybe I'm better in football than you are. So we need to find the right balance and also the support that we are not making everything negative in what we are doing right now. I can give you 100 numbers, or maybe 15, which shows really that we are on the right track. Yeah, the number of goals we conceded outside these 5 outliers or whatever. We have in general, out of 15 games, we had 8 games where we were better in expected goals receiving or scoring than the other team. We had 10 out of, when we were talking about set pieces, we had 10 games out of 15 games where the number of scoring, creating goal chances out of expected goals, set pieces, and allowing the opponent that was on our side. So we are on the right track. Do we have the numbers? Do we have the points we deserve? I would say no. But if I'm looking on the tableau, no chance to change something about that.
I would agree. Also in the fact that I'm more competent at making podcasts than coaching a football team. I would never
Luckily.
doubt that. But do you really get the sense that there are so much negativity in the surroundings, both in podcasts and on the street and the stadium?
You know how much is outside? Is outside this room? Is outside this building? Is outside this? Is that Odense M here?
It is.
Is outside Odense M?
It's C. M is on the other side of the O.
Outside Odense C. I have emotions are influencing also people, and therefore it's so important how the fans responded, not in a wow, that makes our job easier way. They responded against the big defeat in Vejle, or the big defeat against Aarhus. That was so important for the guys also, for the team down there, that they feel, okay, if we are putting our heart on the pitch, they respect a couple of things. Not on the long run, and when it was coming closer to, I think there was one game day when we were bottom last. But in general, they understand in which direction it should go, and they have a big hope that it's going in the right direction. And we can feel that. But it's whenever it's getting, this is what I'm trying to stabilize. Whenever it's going more or less, we are position 10. Fuck Sonniger, please make sure that we are not getting relegated. When we are 9, if you are not bringing us into the top 6, then it was a lost year. And that is too much, by far too much up and down. And these emotions are easy to feel. We should be able, as pros, to deal with that, because that is part of our position profile. But if somebody wants to help, I think thinking that permanently just making my job after the game, because that is pretty easy, doesn't help us. You can be as critical as you want to, but if you really think, so I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about everything around.
The surroundings.
When we are talking about how do you feel about how critical is the surroundings and so on. If we are thinking that sometimes, I said it also to Truls, sometimes I have the feeling being right in explanations is worth more than developing something. Yeah, I knew it. Couldn't go in the right direction. Yeah, I knew it. This is not the right player. I knew it. This is not the right playing style, whatever. Yeah. Therefore, I think the time is not long enough. It took years for one of my former clubs, RB Leipzig. Yeah, it took years when I was there, not with me, but VfB Stuttgart was relegated. A big club. And then it took years again after just 1 year then they were promoted to bring them back on the level. It took another relegation and being promoted again to be now with Sebastian Hoeneß on another level. I think it's difficult to understand in detail how football is working related to success and the parts that are decisive for being successful.
I actually agree, Jonas, in what you said before, that the atmosphere in the stadium, whether we are home or away, and the patience, whether we're winning or losing, is better than I've ever seen in 25 years in Odense. I think actually that's a very strong point, and I really admire that effort, and I think it's a big part of our potential as well, because we, in our style, is very connected to energy, and energy needs to be shared with our fans. So I think it's a huge step compared to other seasons. So if I'm still looking through my own filter and looking at the skepticism, it's more the discussion around the football in Odense. It's the discussion around the football that I think is very highly hopeful. And then the second after, as Alex said, I knew it. So in the stands, great effort, and that's going to help us a lot. And I think we have reached a new level for us, at least within the last 25 years. All respect to that.
Okay, we started this episode asking about changes or about accelerating the club and stuff like that. So speaking of hopes and expectations for the future, everybody is, I guess you hope that OB will go forward and up and up and up the coming years, but one step at a time, of course. So now we just heard Alex talking about better pitches. We mentioned the quality of the players of the squad, speaking about mistakes and stuff like that. So Troels, what will be the next step for OB reaching the next level when you in a year have stabilized the club after promoting?
You're not going to like the answer, so I need to follow up with the next one, I understand, but it is to stabilize at the next possible highest level, right? Yeah. It is, because if half the teams need to lose in order to make the other half win the games, then it's not very easy to always be on the right side of that divider. Yeah. And we have to respect that other teams also make their progress. It's not a zero-sum idea that if we progress with 2, somebody is going to be going backwards with 2. It's not a zero-sum game. So we have to keep developing our things as other will do the same. And for us, the more we can bring fans and team close together, the more we can use the special energy that can be in the stadium and the special energy that we have in our style of play. The more better players we have, the better personnel. And one day, a better coach than Alex and a better sporting director than me is going to finish our work. But until then, we would make sure that we put in all the effort to make sure that the players and the surroundings are developed as far and as fast as we can. And there's no, first position, second position, third position goal in that perspective. It's all about, I know you're much into mathematics, right, Martin?
Totally.
If you have, numbers are total units. It's a full unit. If you look at it as vectors, that is the numbers with a direction, right? And we need to make sure our direction keeps going upwards.
So we want to make it a bit concrete also. So is
good luck.
What I want to ask, and maybe you won't answer that either, but when Alex says also yesterday to me, speaking about the election, he said to the new mayor, please, we need more pitches. But I guess he also has said that to you.
Yep, and I remember what you said once.
We don't want to speak about it anymore.
Yeah. It's really difficult with being a mid-city club like OB to expand the area. And whether it's Odense M to the other side of the O, it's very expensive. Or to this side of the O as well.
Bruce Rioch once called it a river.
Yeah, I don't know the English word for a small creek,
I
maybe.
think it is a river.
Okay,
Okay,
small
cool.
river.
So anyhow, as we have seen, we have developed the pitches to the highest possible standards we can find, not finishing with the grass pitch one. And as we speak, there's actually maintenance going on because we have bigger reconstruction going on. So we can only develop the facilities we have to a certain level. If we need to have more pitches, we need to move. And that has, until now, not been possible since we make the investment in the Superliga house because we expected to stay in this area for quite some time. So for now, we can only maximize the pitches available.
Actually, I think it's a record playing in November in pitch number 1.
We did the same last year, but it's better this year.
Yeah.
Makes it not better if it's a record. I'm responsible for improving things, and therefore I'm looking for the best possible. By the way, I was not talking about pitches. I was talking about one additional grass pitch. I think that could help with the grass heating and so on. Yeah, and why should I reduce the standards if we are setting the standards on the highest possible level?
Of course.
Yeah, this is influencing. If we are, if it's cold like right now, and we are not able to once also Truls, another quote, he said, "This out there is the most important office in the club. So we should keep that office on the best possible level."
Do we have time for asking about players and transfer window and stuff like that?
I don't know. I have all the time in the world.
Because we're also curious about that, and I know there are some tasks. I guess most of them are in the office, but I also guess that you are talking all the time about this transfer window. Alex, you were asked from many journalists during the whole season, what about the quality of the players? What about, do you need more players and more players? Are you tired of those questions?
I am.
What did I answer?
Because the question is actually not for coaches. If it's about hiring or selling players, it's usually for the sporting director or whoever is responsible for that. So it is, of course, a possibility to create discussions, and I accept it. And we work close enough to know what we are hoping for and what is possible. And then, of course, we are active not only in transfer windows, but all year to find the best possible adjustments to the squad. But of course, I cannot blame Alex or any coach to look at the squad and say we would have a easier and better possibility to do extraordinary things if we had additional players. And of course, I respect and we work on that.
But what you are doing every day, Alex, is trying to improve the players that you have, because between September 1st and January 1st, new players will not arrive to your squad. Do you think since September 1st, after the squad was settled, these are the players you have to work with? Do you think the depth of the squad has improved in the daily training, in some players gaining experience, playing in the Superliga and getting minutes?
Developing.
Are the depth of your team better now than
quality?
September 1st?
Is that a hidden question, or is that in general? As I said it before, I think we stabilize a couple of things, and we can only do that when the team is better. When they are, what is developed the player? Is it because somebody else close to him developed, so the other center back made his job maybe better, or after receiving Kanté and getting used to our playing style, his aggressivity, his ball winning behavior was stabilizing some of the center backs and made their job easier. It's also always difficult to clearly identify what makes a player better, but I think the performance of the team was on a more stable level than in the beginning of the season. So regarding that, I think we were able to the team within itself and the staff, also related to the playing idea in general, develop definitely.
But Troels, what I think is
Every
very,
player.
Yeah.
So also
Yeah.
the players maybe 13, 14, 15.
So you talked about some players not having the level for the Superliga right now. When you came during summer and also after some games in the Superliga, are more players fit for Superliga playing time now than back then?
Actually, I need to trust you because I cannot remember that I said that the players are not good enough for the Superliga.
No, you didn't say it that way. You said
Okay, then it's a difference.
They had the potential to be good
Okay, that's
Superliga players,
that's
but
a
they
small
weren't
difference.
there yet.
It's a small difference between drawing and winning. To be exact in that question as well, it's a big difference if I'm telling, hey, from number 15 on, you don't have the quality, because then I'm stepping on the pitch and everybody from position 15 on is thinking, hey, you asshole, what are you talking about me? Or if I'm talking about let's improve the quality you have, because that is what we are doing permanently. That we are explaining the players how we would like to bring them to a better level.
And speaking of that, Troels, it's one of the things I'm very interested in, because it must be a balance you need to find always between development players, if we can call it that talents, and then players who are ready to perform from day one. You said it sometimes during the summer. We didn't buy a defender, but we have a player in the under-21 national team in Denmark. So that balance, how do you and Jimmy Nail and the rest of the recruitment team find that balance, making the puzzle in the squad?
It's difficult for every club.
Yeah.
Even for Nordsjælland, as we see now, they have brought in a larger number of experienced players as well. And it's a difficult job, and it's all about coordinating with the coach. We are a club that needs to do transition better, faster, and with higher quality. Because I could not ask. Actually, I would blame Alex to keep putting in 19-year-old players that are not good enough if we have better options. And my job is to make sure Alex has a competition on every position, whether it's a young academy player from our club or it's a highly established player from somewhere else. We need to make sure that Alex has a selection to make choices and not has only one possibility. And at the same time, of course, as you said, would we have had Yaya and Julius at the level we have now after September 1st if we had two other center defenders in? We were looking for it. We didn't find the perfect match, and we will be looking again this winter and signing competition on these positions, because I don't believe in young players getting the chances for free. And I expect Alex to have the same opinion. We need competition, high quality competition. And if the young player is good enough, he will play. And Alex has proven that everywhere he has been.
Yeah. Makes sense. Jonas, I've invited you to this conversation because you can help me getting the overview.
We're ready to help too, Martin.
Do we need to ask any more questions?
Depends on how specific we should get. Yeah.
You can become as specific as you want to.
Yeah.
I think we are at a very open discussion so far. Yeah,
exactly.
Just
Most
talking
definitely.
about the quality in general. At the beginning, we were really struggling when we had to make when we had to bring players out or we had to substitute players. Still, we have with bringing Kanté in. We have right now with Kanté, with Falk, with Fiete as a striker or 10. And with Max Eidum, we have 4 players for most of the time 3 positions. It took a while until we brought I remember at the beginning of the season, I think it was against Aarhus, we tried to change the system from a 3-4-1-2 into a 4-4-2, and it didn't really work. So the team needed to have some more help. How do I behave against the ball? How do I behave with the ball? Also in these position-related things. Now we changed the position against Nordsjælland and and against Silkeborg, and we won the last 15 minutes in some of these games. I think it's very important that also related to the level we can bring in. It's from these 4 players I was talking about, 3 positions. We had only one time the chance to really use all 4 of them. Max Eidum was out for a long period. Then Falk was out. Again, Kanté not so much. So it's very important that we are stabilizing the core of the team to improve the level of these players next to the core of the team. When we do so, and we still have a lot of quality players on the pitch, then also other players like William or like McCoy and so on, they can show their qualities.
And I noticed that when Falk was out in the last game before this national team's break, Eidum stepped in, did a really good job, and the team made a good performance without Falk, who's a really important player.
Yep.
How far are you in this develop? I guess that has something to do with creating this swarm, and that players can change positions in this swarm, and can even change players, and the swarm still exists. How far are you now in developing this swarm in the OB team?
We are already further than at the beginning of the season. This is what I can definitely say.
Yeah.
How stable is it? Football in general is always related to quality. Always. Could be players' quality, could be sports directors' quality, could be coaches' quality, could be whatever quality.
Yeah.
And when we are able to have more players on the pitch who are permanently, just because of their individual decision making in one or the other situation, able to stabilize the whole system, not losing the ball in the build up, creating a goal chance in the offense, then we will be able to make the whole thing more stable. And when it's stable, then we are improving. Then we are making steps. To say right now where we are on a better level, no doubt, than over a very long period.
So I guess you will say yes to this, but do you also see the
Yes.
the development going the right direction? That OB is on the right track.
Yeah, very much so. If we look at only the last 5 months, the development has been clear, and for me, in only one direction as forward. If we look at the last 18 months, I think the whole coherence around the club with fans, all sort of fans, not only in Richard Møller Nielsen's stand, but the interest, the relevance of OB has grown. We have the 3rd biggest home crowd. That's something. It hasn't been like that always. We won. I think we are 1,000 or 2,000 spectators away from being number 4, which then we are number 5 in the most viewed team in television. Also, depending on when we are asked to play, I know we have relevance that we haven't had for many, many years. For many people, for a lot of people, we have a discussion, an ongoing OB talk all the time. I really appreciate it, and all the effort you put into your podcast is definitely helping the interest around OB. I think it's all pointing in the right direction. But if we take snapshot for snapshot and look for game, of course, one will be better than the other, and then you think things are going very much up and down. But looking back 5 or 18 months, I see the same picture. A continued forward-going movement, and I have really great hope and believe that it's going to continue. By the way, talking about the dual perspective on young players and performance players, we do have 35% playing time in this last 5 months from academy players, 25% of the playing time from under 21 academy players. It also points forward in time.
So the difference between those numbers is Rasmus Falk, who is an academy player.
I was just performance players and young players.
They should perform anyway.
It would help if they are both performing. It's not like young players are not performing players. I think we had a couple of players. We have right now until tomorrow, we have 6 players away, included one from the under-19, with the under-21 or under-19. Yeah, we have we have 4 players away with the A national teams, or usually if James decided to stay here. So I think at the beginning we had 4 or 5 players away. Now we have 9 or 10 players away with the national teams. So it's also a good place to develop as a young player. I know that there are these talks about, could we use more players, more young players? Yes. If we lose with them, not automatically, but if we lose with them 2 games, then everybody would like to have more stability. We are trying to find these balance, to give, for example, players like Yaya, I think he had 42 minutes last year. Now he has for sure over 400 minutes. Yeah, we have Max Eidum, who had his games. We had McCoy also starting appearance. We had with Theo Sander also a goalkeeper, 5 Superliga matches in the goal. So it's usually a lot of people would like to have more game minutes and so on, but I think we are able to balance it very much, that we are supporting our young players as well.
And the under-19 team is going to the Nordic Championship next week, I guess.
Sunday,
I have one question I actually want to ask before we can wrap it up, maybe. But it's about the German players, and we tend to see them as a group. But I'd like to ask both of you, what do they, what are they adding to the squad? Fide Arp, Ganaus, Nimic, because they are making headlines because of the goals and the assists and the performances. But I guess, Troels, maybe you should answer that first. It must do something with the club when 3 from the same country comes in and makes such a difference on the pitch. What were the thoughts of doing that in the transfer window, and what have you seen from your office looking into the pitch from them? Another long question.
Of course, I see them as German players, and it has been one of our benefits of hiring Alex, Jurek, and Martin, that they bring a much more detailed and in-depth knowledge about some of the German players compared to what we had before. Before they came in, we also had German players. At that time, only 2. And for me, they are more quality players than German players. By the way, it's nor good nor bad to be Danish, German, or French, but it's really important that we have the identity of the players fitting the identity of the club. And I cannot stop praising all 3, even if Jona came in at the latest of the 3, because if you look at not the performance only, but behavior of Noah, of Fite. I cannot think of a Danish player, a local player, being more fit to our identity than they are. And it has got nothing to do with the passport. It's behavior, it's personality, and of course quality.
And by the way, we have also Tom Trubol as a German additional player. And I find myself sometimes talking with my countrymen's English on the
yes.
So then it takes a little while, and then I realize, okay, could be a little bit easier if we are talking German. Be sure. Benedikt Röcker told me that once, that when the players find out when I'm dealing in the same way with the German players than with Danish, Gambian, what else do we have?
Burkina Faso.
Netherlands, Burkina Faso players, then they realize, okay, we don't like him always, but he's treating everybody in the same way, and that is important for me. Yeah, I know these. I knew all of these players. I played against them, all of them, and that helps me, of course, and is minimizing the time, how long it takes until we got a benefit out of it in the playing style as well.
I was asked some time years back when Alex and I both worked in Brøndby. I was asked by one of the board members, you can be honest to me, just say it out loud. Do you have a preference for young German men in shorts? And I don't, but I do like quality players that nobody else in Denmark would know. And we are tapping into a market with the knowledge of Alex and Jurek and Martin that we should exploit and benefit. And I don't think anybody is in doubt that the quality of the 3 players that came in from Germany and the 1 player coming in from Burkina Faso is what took them here, not the passport.
I think that, I think that is also very important, that we brought 6 players into the club, and more or less all 6 of them are, in my understanding, regular starters.
Yeah.
Theo in the same way, Jona in the same way. And I think that is also important when we're talking about German players. They should only be here if they really can help us lift us up. We also had the situation in Brøndby that at one point, I think we had 6 there. At one point, we also need to say we want to keep the energy around the club stable. And when we are not successful, when we are successful and we are using 12 German players, everybody would just say, okay, they made a good scouting. If we are not successful and we are using 5 German players, they would say, of course, there are too many German players. So this is what we were talking before. What kind of atmosphere are we creating? Positive atmosphere are we creating and taking away the possibilities that we give too easy excuses? We are taking care of that. We are not, when a German agent is calling, hey, I have a 70-year-old future Messi, we are not bringing him in. You can be sure.
Now, Troels talked about the culture of the club and the personality these German guys have brought in, helping the culture around the first squad here in Odense. And I talked last week with Chiminale in the same office about scouting and recruitment. And I asked him if not this finding personality fits for stabilizing or improving or helping a culture in a club isn't one of the difficult things about scouting. When you use your network to find players that might suit OB, how much does that mean to you to assess, is this a guy that fits in not only with quality on the pitch, but also in
the dressing room?
In the dressing room and creating this culture that Troels is talking a lot about.
That is important for me. I felt it from the first second. Kante is a perfect culture player. Ismaila Ouedraogo is a perfect culture player. Yeah, this is also important for me, that we have the right number of players. Also, when we are talking about German players, it was very important that Martin Hansen or Björn Paulsen, they were also playing in Germany. So when we are talking about expectation, when we are talking about attitude, mentality, and so on, they know what I'm talking about. That is very important. You can never be sure. There was a sports director who told me, I have these 7 points rule that I'm asking 7 persons, but not only sports directors, coaches, teammates, physiotherapists, or whatever. How are they? And still, when you got them here, they could be different persons because they left their family at home, because they just broke up with the girlfriend, because of 1,000 different reasons. Yeah, it's not only on that level; it's on the top level. Where people are saying, what had happened there? They must have sent the brother.
And since it's difficult, it's one more reason for us to look first in our own academy, because we know them better. If they have a chance to make the step within reasonable time, then that is our first priority. We need to be better and faster and more qualified in our transition of our young players, and that is top priority.
But I've tried to ask the question sometimes. But just one final thing about the German market, because in our podcast, in one of the speculation podcasts, I think I asked one of the guys, do you think OB has found what it's called in English, guldgruppe, an oil spot in the desert where the oil is coming up, or a gold mine in
That's the word. Thank you.
In Germany, in German planes? He said, yes, go there again in January. So are you going there?
We're
again
going everywhere
in January.
But of course, as you spoke to Jimmy about, we try to be as certain as we can be, and that is in markets we know the best. And we knew the German market somehow, but now we are experts in the German. We are
And you have
definitely in Denmark the experts.
and as you said before, you have an advantage.
Yes. Yes.
Against other clubs, maybe. Yeah.
And I think it's also important that we have a position profile for everybody. Yeah. If I can get a midfielder from the Fiji Islands or from German, and the guy from the Fiji Island is maybe a little bit faster and in the head and in the legs, a little bit taller, a little bit more curious, a little bit more eager in the development process, then we will take the guy from the Fijis.
And I'll take the scouting trip.
Of course you do. Of course. And Jimmy will join you.
Yeah, we all go.
Whole club going to Fiji, finding a player.
Yeah.
Then the podcast will be there as well, covering it. Yeah, okay. Okay. I think I've set all my questions in this direction, and we got some quite interesting answers. So thank you for that. Do you think is there something you thought before this? I need to say this. Then you have the possibility now, if you haven't said it already.
I most likely you don't really remember all the details when you make a podcast. I certainly don't. But
no.
I just need to make sure that the point is I'm making my point clear, that I think that the unity between club and city and Fyn has, in my 25 years in and out of OB, never been better. I think there's really a great effort from everybody involved, not the club as the only force in that. I think it's really important. And I know for years, because we have been talking about this for years, about my filter of the skepticism. I love to see hope. I love to see hope, and I hate to see hope crumble. And I hope for all of us that we don't have to be hoping for 5 minutes and then be despairing for 24 hours just to get a new hope. I think it's really important that we keep our hopes united and together. And if we said anything that could make that hope smaller, we need to do this again, all over again.
I don't think that's necessary.
Hopes are always high.
And I have to make it very clear, I feel totally loved. And if somebody do not love me, he respects me at least. Nobody, not so much interesting for me. If it's somebody from the medias, as you mentioned, there might be one or the other guy. Maybe my answers sometimes sounds a little bit rude, but maybe you have to dig a little bit deeper, and then you see the respect for.
And actually, I think most of the fans hope to see you jump into the river someday, because it's actually something you do here when you win something, not when you lose something or get fired or anything. So.
So I should have jumped already 5 times in the river because we won games.
Won a trophy.
Yeah, I guess it's when you win a trophy.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It has to be a trophy.
Let the word trophy be the last word in this conversation. Sorry. Okay, Alexander and Troels, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And I'll just end this podcast in Danish. Også tak til dig, Jonas.
Selv tak.
Det var en statussnak om udviklingen i OB, truppen og målsætninger og forventninger og alt muligt andet, når det handler om den fynske klub her. Vi siger tak til Fynske Bank og til Albani, og tak til jer, der lytter med. Stemmerfodlen tilbage, før I ender det. På gensyn og på genhør.
Det er noget, man drikker.
Har I oplevet noget lignende? Jeg har sgu ikke det.